just a closure, just a finish, or some way to share it with everybody. So they have classical at the end of the year. My kids have to pick a classical piece, but they also pick a fun piece, and they kind of surprise each other with these fun pieces. So they try something different every time. I've had some kids play, Stairway to Heaven. I've got Zelda. I have all kinds of things. And the kids really look forward to hearing these because it's a surprise. And so now they get to do a video with it to share it with everybody as well.
I would like to show everybody else that's watching the video that you created to inspire your kids to take the recital from here at Steinway Hall, Plano, online, that everybody can see simultaneously. So let's have a look at that. And it's a great video. And here we go. Let's see if I can get that over here. And sorry.
Okay, bye. See you next week. Hi, everybody. This is where I'm teaching right now. You can see all of the music. All right, so we're gonna walk over here to where we usually play games. Okay, so I'm gonna run through a couple of ideas and scenarios for you guys to record your videos. So this Facebook page was kind of created as a way for you guys to share your songs with our groups, so that it still had that sense of like letting everybody see how much work you've done over the semester. So I'm really happy to be still talking to you guys, even if it's over the phone. It's still really fun, and I'm surprised how much we've actually gotten accomplished since I started doing this. Here goes. I'm gonna have my kids in it and my dogs. Really anything goes. Be creative. You could be serious. You could move your piano somewhere. You could decorate your piano. You could move your keyboard outside. You could put it by a tree. You could really do anything. So I'm gonna give you a kind of a little glimpse of some ideas that I have, and I'll talk to you after. You could have a beach theme. You could dress up, or dress up your animals. You could be more serious. Or you could use props. And if you make a mistake, just record again. And if you make a mistake again, you can just record again. Or you could edit that video. So the videos, we really want to start posting them by May 1st, that week. So the first week of May is our goal. The kids are really working hard on getting them ready to do their songs. After that, we can still post songs the summer or however long this goes. But we're really hoping that first week of May to just have a lot of videos for the kids to all see. And you can share really nice comments for all the kids who play. That would be really great. So good luck. See you soon.
So let me get out of here. Sorry. Okay, that was great, Lori. Thank you. Thank you. So what was, after you posted that video and you had already gathered most of your families online on Facebook, and of course children too, what happened? What did you see in your students and your parents, and that maybe you were expecting, but something that you didn't expect as well?
Yeah, I think up until that point, it was ideas, and I was trying to kind of really have it come to life myself. And I think the kids really didn't know what I meant by it. And I think that they were kind of worried, thinking that some video was going to go on YouTube and it was going to be some kind of bigger thing. And I
I think once I made the video and I posted it, then everybody felt a lot better and started getting excited, and just flooded comments from all my families how much they love the idea. And they were already working on storyboards and getting, you know, like one of my students is going to have like lights all over. It's just turned out to be this great kind of family thing. And today are the day that's when I'm start posting videos. I'm really excited.
So do you find that, has there been a downturn in kids practicing? How has this affected their practice time?
So there was at first, because I think they had to get used to online schooling. They had to get used to their parents being there. Was just really a lot of uncertainty. And then by that second week, I think as I had started this, then we had a deadline, we had a date. I could talk about with the, every week we could talk about it. So this is when we want to be done. We want to finish this section. Send me a video. I want to see how it sounds. It's just given them a purpose, and kind of included the families there now, so the family can kind of see how practice is going as well. So it's kind of just been a win-win all the way around.
Well, we're going to show, I'd like to show, and thank you to your students and their parents for allowing us to show. Let's show just a couple of your students here, clips. And, oops, hold on one second. There we go. And can you introduce her?
So this is Sloan, and she's playing her classical piece.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you're having a wonderful day. And I will be playing Huntsman's Chorus, played by Sloan Nolan. Hope you enjoy this wonderful evening with me. I'm going to be playing Huntsman's Chorus, and please stay tuned. I hope you like the song, and remember, you always have time playing piano, and never stop learning. Be respectful, responsible, and safe. Bye!
That was great.
Oh, so cute. She got dressed. She had it all, like her hair done, and that was great.
Let me get to the next one, okay? And then the other one, this is, can you introduce your next?
So this is Rataj. This is also just a great student, and she might get a little bit nervous at recitals, and so this was really fun for me to see her really have so much fun with it. This is her fun piece.
Come on, Dad, come on. Come on, the show's starting.
Oh,
Come on, Lexi, come on, here you go.
welcome, welcome to Rataj's piano show, where she will be playing Stay With Me by Sam Schmidt.
That was great. So we turn this off back to our, so Ritaj and Sloan, they did a great job. It was very creative, and the family participation. Now you, like many piano teachers, also like to give out rewards or goodie or trophies or certificates at the end of your recital. So you told me about what I thought was an ingenious idea, and tell us what you did.
So again, we're all getting ideas from what's going on now, and I saw curbside pickup, and I was like, maybe that's a way that I can see everybody and hand out their recital treats. So I made a little bag. I'm going to have 2 of them. Tonight is our first one, and the second one I'm going to do up at Steinway. So the first one I'm going to do tonight is to give them, I made a little bag. It has a ribbon. And then I thought the things that I'm noticing that are missing during our lessons are they have to run and find a pencil. They have to find maybe, something to put on their hand. We work on pentas and things like that. So I made a little pencil bag, and I have it so they can keep it by their piano for our lessons. And I tried to just write a little personal note in them. And then my kids are going to help have signs, and we're going to try to make it like a drive-through thing where I put it in the back of the trunk and then they leave. They're really excited too. It's funny.
It sounds exciting. It sounds like you've really taken this and really turned it into something very fun and creative and imaginative, still teaching good piano and getting your families together. Kids are excited. Some kids, you told me, some kids are doing more than just the 2 pieces. They're making several videos.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's always, they always want to play more than 2 at the recital, especially at Steinway, because Otis is there and they want to impress him too. But I think now I can say yes. We can invite grandparents. It's really opened up a lot of things I never have thought about before. School teachers, things, people that they're really excited to see them play. And so, yeah, it's just been amazing.
So you've seen a lot of their pianos too, or their keyboards.
Yes. Well, now I have. I didn't know before. And I'm surprised how many out of tune pianos I hear, because now as you teach virtual, you're sitting directly in front of the piano, right? Usually you sit on the side as they're playing. And so if I'm going to play something so that they can hear it, it's maybe an octave higher. And now I can play it right where they're playing it in a split second. Or I can play it kind of with them and hear if they're playing it incorrectly or correctly. And so that type of feedback I find is, very helpful. But when their pianos are so out of tune, I'm like, okay, are you playing middle C? And so, yeah, I think, and I was surprised how many keyboards that I saw, but maybe Otis can do his magic there.
Well, we're always here to help you, help your families get it from Steinway. Thank you so much for your time today and for sharing this wonderful thing that you've done with your students and your families. Let's see if we have some questions that folks can, if anybody has any questions. Are we doing a Q&A?
Yes, it looks like Carolyn has a question.
Yes. Hi.
Hello.
My question was for Lori. When you do the virtual lessons, are you using Skype or Zoom? And whichever one you use, what type of technical setup are you using?
So right now, I'm just using my phone, and I've been asked to use Zoom, and I've thought about Skype, but I just am doing FaceTime. And what I do is I have them set the phone or the iPad to the left of the piano, so it's overlooking the keys, so I can see across their hands, not so much their face. And
Right.
really all I need to see. And then I put my phone up kind of at where my music would be so that they can see me. And then if I have to show them what I'm playing. You know, right now I have to do one hand at a time. It's not ideal, but we're kind of making do so far. I think ideally, if I was to keep going forward with this, and I think I might, I have a family moving away and they asked me about it, and I initially thought that I just don't see how that can happen. It's not fair to the kids. You can't be there to touch their hands and fix things. But I think that now I could do it, and I would get a better setup, I think, if this goes something I do long term.
How is the sound quality with the FaceTiming? I mean, do things cut out a lot? Because I've been Zooming and Skyping my lessons, and it's sometimes a struggle with things pausing or freezing and notes cutting in and out, and it's been kind of a real pain. So
yeah, I do notice that. It depends, and it's not always, not all the time, but yeah, there is a definite lag kind of time. So if I wanted to play something, you can't play with them, you can't play along. So yeah, I do notice that there are times I have to really have my ear up there to kind of pay attention to where they are or ask them to replay it. But it hasn't been too much of, I think, a problem, but I do notice that. Yeah, I was telling Otis, I also, you know, now that I'm doing this virtually, it's parents are going off to do their work when I'm in a lesson. And so it's the kids' iPads that we're using. So maybe it's their email address or something like that. So I have noticed sometimes they send me little pictures or they text me. And so I'm kind of trying to have a line there where it's just piano. I'm kind of trying to figure that out too.
Right. Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Sure.
Let's see. There is a question here that says, how do you handle safeguarding procedures? Do you have a disclosure statement for parents to sign that you are able to show videos of their children publicly?
So I talk to all the families. It's a private Facebook group. And so I let them all know that I will not be sharing any of their videos unless they want to share them on their Facebook page. So the ones that are on here, we definitely talked to them and they said it was okay.
And they did send us written permission for this.
Yeah, that was something that, you know, some of my high school kids were a little bit worried about, but I just made sure to tell everybody this is kind of just our Facebook page, and since it's a private group, they won't be sharing those videos.
Okay, it looks like we have another question. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing, but it looks like Man Chen.
Yes, it's Man Chen. Yeah, so the Facebook is private. It's just created for this particular, nothing to do with the individual Facebook. Is that right? And everybody just post a video.
Most of them are going to send it to me first, but they can post the video because I do know them all. And I had to invite everybody.
Okay.
That took a little bit of time to get everybody to accept. It's a separate invite. So I'm the moderator, and then I did let them invite grandparents.
Okay, so everybody's coming into you as a link. Correct. So you post them individually. It's not like everybody's together.
No.
So
it will be probably together all week. Yes.
Okay, got it. Cool.
You know, some kids kind of aren't done yet, but they're motivated now because now they know other kids have finished. And so I've got a couple that I'm going to post tonight. This is our first day of it. And then they're going to be coming in throughout the week, but they're supposed to be done by Friday.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So Otis, we're going to need to wrap up. And I think the questions that are coming from the chat from Christina can also be addressed by Christian later, if that's all right with you.
Okay, that's sure, absolutely. Lori, thank you so much. You've given us so much information to share with everybody. And we're
curbside pickup. We're coming to see you.
Right.
Thank you, Lori.
Thank you.
Okay, so I am going to introduce our next guest. Again, this is Amanda with Steinway in Houston. So happy you all could be here. We do plan on doing a part 2 to this with different topics, and really want this to be about you all and what information would be helpful to you, as we're all very isolated in this time. So there will be a survey to follow, and we hope that you can complete that, because the entire purpose of us here today is to assist you in the ways that you need. So thank you again for being here. Lori, thanks so much for sharing. What a great idea with the Facebook page, and something that can bring camaraderie going forward in your studio, a good access point. So thank you. So our next guest is named Dr. Christian Restrepo. He is a graduate of University of Houston with his doctorate, with his doctoral in piano performance. And he's a pianist, composer, and piano teacher. So better watch out. He has a lot of talents, and he's very excited to share with you today. He teaches in The Loop in Houston, very close to our store. So him and I have been able to do a lot of creative things together. So I'm very happy he's our guest today. He's also a Steinway Educational Partner, and has had the opportunity to do Doretta Steinway in New York and get a tour of the factory there. And then lastly, just a little plug for Dr. Restrepo. He just announced to me recently that he has come out with his own book specifically, and you can elaborate, Dr. Restrepo, but you said specifically for late beginners, early intermediate. And the name of the book is called Paseíto Latino. And for access to that book, you can email Dr. Christian Restrepo directly. And I have just added his email to the chat there if you'd like to email him for further information. Dr. Restrepo, welcome.
Hello, good afternoon, and thank you so much for this invitation. I am very excited about this opportunity. And as Lori was saying, this idea of teaching online is new to all of us, at least for me. I mean, some of my colleagues, in fact, had experience with this before. But in my case, I'm just, new doing this. And it's just amazing. In the beginning, I was very nervous about it because there are some elements of teaching that somehow require the teacher to be there next to the student. But I think this new experience somehow taught us to be more creative and find ways. And it humbles you because it shows you that teaching is endless. There are so many ways of teaching. And it makes me love this activity even more. It's just amazing what you can do. So based on that, being that said, the topic I wanted to discuss today is about the importance of singing now that we have these online classes. Of course, singing is always important, but today I want to address how interesting it is to apply this now that we go online. So for this, I want to share with you some things that I prepared. So I'm going to share my screen with you right now. Okay, so I just titled my topic, The Power of Singing, because singing is powerful. Singing is something that is natural, it's part of who you are. So let's hear. Okay, so for singing is something that you can't buy in a store, You cannot go somewhere and say, give me 3 bags of singing. Singing is something that you develop. Why? And this is a simple fact, because you are born with the gift. We all can sing, all of us. And as I was talking to Amanda earlier and yesterday, you don't need to have a beautiful voice. It's not about having this gorgeous sound coming out your mouth. No, it's about just enjoying that possibility of creating sounds, of enjoying a simple melody, of just creating music with your own body. You are born with it. So also singing is part of our society. We all sing. I can't imagine a group of people without singing, without just using this beautiful instrument we are all gifted with. And for me, this is very important Your voice belongs to you and only you. Enjoy it. What I mean with that is that nobody can tell you, hey, don't sing. Of course, there are moments, sure, but it's always there, ready for you at 5 a.m., at 3 a.m., at noon, whenever you want to sing. If you are able, go for it. Go for it. It's as simple as that. But the whole point of this presentation is here, and I want to focus on this. Singing proves what words can't. Think this way. You are teaching to a student how to sing a melody, how to do a crescendo, how to do a diminuendo. And for this, I have here a simple example. We have this melody. Okay? It's a simple melody of 4 measures with a simple articulation legato, simple staccatos, and an accent in the end. If you had to explain this example to a student, what would you say? Look, connect the notes so you don't hear gaps between them, but then separate them because it's a staccato, so it has to be half of the sound, and then in the end, make it louder. I mean, you say that to a kid that is 5 years old, and they're gonna look at you like, I do not understand what you're saying. But if you sing it, if you say, da da dee da 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 da, that in 2 seconds is a summary of all the words you already said. In 5 seconds, 2 seconds. Now, you might say, oh, but you can play it. The problem, and it's something that I discovered in my experience, is that students, professionals, understand better what to do with the fingers when they can hear it and sing it first. You go in history, if you play a Mozart sonata, it is impossible to play it right if you don't know how his operas sound like, if how an aria is sung. Chopin's favorite composer was Mozart, and some of his concerti for piano and orchestra #1, and some of his pieces are all based on melodies that somehow are designed for the voice. So this is important, the idea of singing, and it's a way of helping the student to not be afraid and just be able to understand how a melody works. So I don't know, Amanda, if you have something to ask, anything before I move on? Okay, perfect. Now, what type of activities can we do online, and how can we apply the power of singing, online to get really good results? It's very simple. It's not rocket science. The first thing you have to do is sing it to the student. We always sing to students. We sing all the time to them in our lessons. The problem we have now is that when you sing for them, because of the technology, there is a delay of about 1 second, 2 seconds. So of course, if you sing with them and you ask them to sing with you, there's gonna be a problem. So sing for them first. And don't be afraid of singing for them a couple of times. That is completely fine. They're gonna feel more secure. But then after that, ask them to repeat what you just said. You have to make sure they somehow got the idea, that they grasp what you are trying to sing for them. They might not get it the first time. That's okay. You sing for them again, then they sing back to you. And that is a very, in fact, somehow teamwork. Because the teacher saying, okay, do this, but hey, let's do teamwork here. It's a very nice activity. And it's very simple. Once you sing, and once they sing back to you, the second thing you can do is what? You do not have to wait for the student to know the melody perfectly. You may ask them to sing and clap at the same time. What better way of developing sense of pulse than singing and clapping? Is that not what we did as kids in kindergarten? Singing is not only to somehow internalize a melody or how to shape. Singing also helps you to develop rhythm, pulse, even the structure of a piece, because you have to breathe among phrases. That gives you an idea of how a piece is constructed. So we're talking about now form, and that's a very important concept. We underestimate so much the power of singing. Again, when you sing, you are showing that you have in your heart the idea of how the piece goes. And if it's wrong, well, the teacher is here to help you. So clapping, going back to this example, think of when you were a kid, learning songs in kindergarten or first grade, second grade. The first thing you do is start clapping. And you don't care if you go with the rhythm or not. It's natural. And when you mix it with your singing, the rhythm, because you know the tune, gets better. The rhythm changes, the pulse, the sense of pulse changes. And that is why now that we go online, we really need to make an emphasis on this idea of singing. And then another activity that I used to do with my students is challenge your students. Ask them to sing the melody with different dynamics or articulations. So in this case, for instance, we go back to our example here. So we have a legato here in the beginning, then a staccati, and then an accent. How about if you ask the student, you can challenge them to sing this staccato and this legato, and then play it, because the idea is to sing it, to understand it, and then play it. And this is a lot of fun, because of course they struggle, but since they know that we're just having fun, they're not afraid of trying it. And in fact, it's a way of possibly awakening a composer there, because they have to recreate something that is already written. And if the kiddo, really wants to go for it, maybe they can keep the same articulation, the same shape, but they can change the sounds. Anyway, you can just be creative with this idea. I don't know if in this moment, Amanda, you want to add something else, or if you're good to go on. Okay, great. Now, one of the things that I use all the time, I combine the power of singing with technology. Because right now, that's what we have to use. Teaching online, we have to be so creative to keep the students engaged, but not only engaged, always moving forward. So since I'm a composer, I just came up with this idea of just creating for my students some orchestral pieces of just 8 measures. And with these orchestral pieces, my idea is to challenge their collaborative skills, to develop the skill of playing with different instruments, to develop the idea of rhythm, because now they have to follow an orchestra that is not going to wait for them if they miss the beat or something like that. So rhythm, just the length of notes, and pulse, how those notes flow. So that's what this is going to do for them. And also it's going to create musical awareness, to be aware of all the musical elements. When I combine this with singing, the result is great. Why? Because due to singing, they already know how the piece flows. So when we integrate this idea that I apply with my students with what they know in their fingers, it works beautifully. So singing is the best preparation for a student to jump to this type of activity. Why? They just know how the piece goes in their voice and fingers. So let me show you really quick an example of one of the pieces that I wrote for my students. Right here. Here we go. So the orchestra is very simple. We have 1 flute, 1 oboe, claves. This is the piano part, and the violin section. If you observe the piano part, it's just 5-finger position in D major. And that's the first thing that we teach to our students, 5-finger position. That's all, okay? And the claves, they have a very simple rhythm, and I spice it up a little bit with 2 8 notes in the end. This is for beginners, of course. As you can see here, the flutes, they have simple half notes. The strings, whole note that keeps the chord, the harmony, and the cello that keeps the beat, a simple 1, 2, 3, 4, so they have something to hold on to, and a downbeat with a double bass. So once the kid knows how to sing this, and they feel it and they play it, when you play this for them, it's just amazing. And the way I do it, of course, I create an MP3 file, and I just play it here in my studio, or I just send it by email so they can play it there, and they can play alongside. So let me give you an example of how something like this sounds like. So for all those teachers over there watching us, since you have access to this, we can do this. I'm gonna sing the piano part and play the violoncello. And if you want to, you can clap the claves, or you can, in your pianos or your keyboards, play the other parts to see how everything works together. Of course, we cannot hear you, but it will give you an idea. Okay, so it sounds like this. Ta 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 ta. It's very simple. It's very simple. But you see how the cello keep the same pulse. And notice something. I just put a fortissimo here, but the melody doesn't have dynamics. Why? Because I want the student to be creative with their voice, and according to whatever their voice suggests, add the articulation, add the dynamics. So somehow they are also part of the composition, but all this using their voice. So this is one of the activities that I use with them. And to be honest with you, I mean, singing helps so much with it. I want to move on to this. What else could the student achieve with the power of singing? And for me, this is perhaps the most important element: independency. Independency of what? As I wrote it there, when you are with the student face to face, you are there for the student. So as Lori was saying, you can move the hand, make sure there's no tension. You can check so many things, and you can sing with them and play with them at the same time. Here, since they are alone, they have to pay more attention to whatever they do. They really need to hear what they are playing, because that's something that as professional musicians, even we professionals, we don't listen to ourselves sometimes. Sometimes we play and then we listen to the recording and we are like, oh, I did that, or oh, I did that. Doesn't matter if it's good or bad, but this is gonna force the student to truly listen and pay attention, because you are not there. They are alone trying all this. Of course, as I put there, you are on the other side of the screen, but they have to try alone. And they have to try alone and check alone if it is working or not. So this idea of independency, it is beautiful. And just to finish with this, let's remember as teachers, and this is very personal, we do not own the students. We do not own them. One day, they're gonna move on to another teacher, or they move to another city, or something happens in life, or they go to college. It doesn't matter. So you have to make sure that whenever they move on, they get from you something that helps them to be musicians, to be artists. That's all. So, any questions?
Yes, thank you so much, Christian. That was wonderful.
Thank you.
We have a question from Mauricio. And Mauricio, if you don't mind, if you could just ask it to the group.
Oh, sure. Hello, everybody. For those examples with the orchestra, do you use at times introductory measures, or how do you deal with the start of the pieces?
Really, really good question. By the way, Mauricio is a really good friend of mine from Colombia. He is head of the piano department in the, Mauricio, which university in Bogota?
University of Andes.
University of Andes in Bogota, so he's joining us from Colombia. And yes, that's a really good question. Yes, when I put this together for the kiddos, I put some, in this just was an example, but I put in the audio file like 2 measures where they can hear a beat, pam, pam, so they get the speed and they know when to start. Definitely, yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sure, thank you, Mauro. Amanda, you're muted.
Here we go. Here we go. Any other?
Oh, yeah, yes.
Or comments?
No, thank you. That was my question.
Thank you. Anybody else who has some feedback or commentary? Okay, so before we move on to our closing, there was a comment from earlier from Yelena, if you noticed in the chat. So first of all, thank you, Christian. I don't want to thank you so much for sharing your presentation today. I enjoyed all of the examples and interactions. I think we all had our clapping claves going.
That was cool.
And again, if you'd like to reach out to Christian, I included his email in the chat. And then to go back to Lori's presentation, I think this can be answered by either one of you if this applies, but Yelena had a question, or a comment, excuse me, which was to say that she always puts her recital video on YouTube, and she puts it in her policy that their performance will be put on her website. And if for some reason they don't want that, they let her know personally. And let's see, Yelena, if you wanted to add anything, I've unmuted you. Do you have any further comments about that? Okay, then I think we covered that. We'll give just, yes, Yelena?
Yeah. So I have them, their consent, because I have my website, and then I have on the Facebook studio page. So I tell them, I know this is the issue, so I tell them that their video or picture will be posted on my website, and if they have some reason not to, I will not include them. So I make them sign the policy. This way I have their consent that they not objected to put the video or their picture on the website. Okay, so this is already so not issue.
Mm-hmm. That's great, and that would make it even more easy for you, Lori, to share if you so chose through your Facebook page. Thank you for sharing, Yelena.
I think one important thing, and I think we all do this in our studios, is that yes, we all have a policy, you know, and that's a very simple, you know, item you can add, you know, of 2 sentences. You know, we will post videos on YouTube. If you disagree with this, sign here. If you don't, leave it in blank. Something as simple as that. I think it's something very simple to fix because it is serious. But I think that if you talk to parents like Lori did and you put it written, you know, you should be fine.
Mm-hmm. Good points.
Great. Any other questions? It looks like I saw a hand raised from Carolyn. So I'm just, oh, she has a comment. Okay, Carolyn, let me unmute you here. Thank you again, Yelena. Okay, Carolyn, we're ready for your comment.
Yeah, I just really wanted to comment. I really appreciated all the talking about the teaching with singing. And if anything, it made me feel a little bit better with what I'm doing, because I've been doing that for years. And it's just something that I've been doing, and I find that it really helps. So I totally am in agreement with that style of teaching. I've had great success with it. So I just wanted to say thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, yesterday I shared with all my colleagues, with Lori, with Otis, Mr. Saliba, with Amanda, that singing, I remember teaching, learning in the conservatory back in Colombia, that part of our final, exam, the piano final exam, we had to sing. It was part of the final exam. And we didn't have to sing simple things. We had to sing Benjamin Britten's choral music. And that was part of the piano exam. Once we had to sing the Colombian anthem, and we had to play it and sing it. And that was part of the final exam, because our teachers understood that singing is just the best way of understanding aligned music.
Right, right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carolyn.
I have one thing I want to ask Dr. Restrepo real quick to comment on. So, and thank you for this wonderful topic. Can you talk about the importance of a good instrument, a good piano, a great piano, and its sound in relation to singing, and how that impacts the student having a good piano?
Definitely. There is one very important thing. There is a reality that some students do not have a piano. They have a keyboard. We understand that is a reality. We have to think of a subtlety that is so important. When you have a good piano, not a keyboard, a good piano, you start dealing with something called harmonics. And the harmonics is a group of sounds that stay up in the air after playing a key. And those harmonics are essential when you are singing, because they help you with intonation, projection. There are so many ways you can use those harmonics for your singing. So it is definitely different. It's definitely, of course, better if my professional opinion as a pianist, of course, if you have the possibility, a really good piano, Steinway, Boston, a piano that is strong and has what it needs, of course, it's better. It's better. We know the reality. Again, we cannot push anybody. Okay, so but answering your question, the real instrument is always going to be better for a performer to play and sing because of what I explained. It's my professional opinion, though.
Wonderful. Thank you for that question, Otis. And thank you again, Dr. Restrepo, for your feedback.
Sure. Thank you.
I really appreciate, we all do here at Steinway, appreciate your time, Lori and Christian. Thank you so much for being here and supporting our community. We thought it was very important to be able to highlight the people in the trenches, which is you all. So please, thank you for your time and expertise in this. And we hope that you all have had just a little tidbit to take away with you and hopefully encourage you as you continue to teach online as we get through this difficult time. So I'm going to pass it back to Casey Saliba, who has made this all happen for us. We're very grateful for this opportunity. And have him share about some of the upcoming events and any reviews we need regarding our remuneration program or student value certificates. So Casey, are you there?
Yep, I'm here. Thank you all for taking the time to do that. I know our guests enjoyed it. As Amanda mentioned, we're going to do another one of these in 2 weeks. We'll have Stephen Nielsen from Dallas, and then we will have Sarah Doan from Fort Worth, who will be giving presentations. It's going to be about 2 weeks from now, and you'll get an email about that. So we hope you can join us then. As I mentioned before, we are doing private shopping appointments right now. I know a lot of you have seen your students' pianos that they're playing on, and some of you are very, very, very surprised at what they're playing on. So we still can write remuneration checks and put those in the mail to you so you can get those. But we always appreciate everything you do to support us. And we look forward to seeing you at the next one. There's a survey that you'll see after this. So any suggestions or thoughts that you have are greatly appreciated. And stay safe. And we look forward to seeing you in a couple weeks.
Great.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.